Welcome Cassaro Coast to CCIN's weekly segment for our 2019 August 29th newspaper edition. We look forward to showing you a few highlights that were in last week's newspaper and some of the action to look forward to in next week's newspaper edition. If you like an article and would like to see more content, please subscribe to the app in either Google Play or Apple, or by purchasing a newspaper from your local distributor. In response to CCIN queries on Cassaro Coast Regional Council's skyrocketing legal expenses over the past 2 years, Council issued on Friday a media response published as an advertisement in both the Innisfail Advocate and this paper entitled The Facts. It also went on their Facebook page. Unfortunately, it contained few relevant facts and dodged all the substantive questions that had been asked by CCIN of Council. Mayor Kremastos has instead elected to duck the fundamental issues and gloss over legitimate public concerns via an advertisement presumably paid for by ratepayers. It's a strange political move not to be transparent with the public, simply ensuring this issue continues to slow burn through to the March council elections. CCIN had attempted to give council the opportunity to clear the air given the widespread gossip and innuendo on social media alleging the council has expended well over $1.5 million of ratepayers' monies in relation to legal cases connected to the council chief executive officer's 2017 defamation action against a Cassaro Coast couple. These also include vexatious, litigant and bankruptcy claims. You can read more on this topic in the latest issue. The Cassaro Coast community has been both raising awareness to cancer and fundraising for research into a cure amongst various fundraising groups on the Cassaro Coast. The North Queensland Western Performance Horse Club hosted the annual Lope and Hope for a Cure horse show weekend at the Tully Horse Performance Centre, and volunteers from Council Queensland Innisfail branch hit the main streets of Innisfail, raised through the sale of fresh daffodils, associated merchandise and donations on Daffodil Day. Lope and Hope is an annual event that showcases competitors and their horses. Though it's mostly about raising awareness about early detection for women's cancer and raising funds so that one day Cancer Council Queensland can find a cure for this disease. Fundraising is achieved from a percentage of competitors' show nominations, a scent sale held and drawn at the show, as well as donations received during a fun, non-horse ridden event held on the Saturday night. Over 50 horses competed from as far away as Clermont and Hughenden, making this the biggest that the club has hosted since 2014. This year, for the first time, the Cancer Council Queensland Innisfail branch had a table set up and outside Babinda Bakery, and the branch especially wished to thank Annette from the bakery for this opportunity. Daffodil Day is one of Australia's most popular fundraising events, and this year marks the 33rd year since it was established. The vibrant yellow daffodil represents hope and a continuing fight against cancer. Cancer patients living in the Cassaro Coast region can utilise the Marilyn Mayo Lodge in Cairns, which assists patients and families while they are undergoing cancer treatment, and now has 2 cars to provide transport to and from hospitals. Tully Little Athletics and Cassaro Coast Little Athletic Centres are sporting brand new gear after both receiving grants from Coles from funds raised through the sale of Coles Community Chiller Bags. The centres are 2 of more than 200 centres across Australia who have received funding from Coles to replace or expand its sport equipment. Coles State General Manager Jerry Farrell said Coles was delighted to provide grants to help little athletic centres such as Tully and Cassaro Coast. Thanks to all the customers who have bought our range of chiller bags at Coles stores, has enabled us to provide over $800,000 in grants for little athletic centres across Australia to help them purchase equipment such as high jump, discus, hurdles and various running events to support these activities. The Cassaro Coast Centre elected to receive the grant for a portable discus cage, shot puts, discuses and trolleys, while Tully indicated they would like to receive a grant for javelins, hurdles, trolleys and stopwatches. Cassaro Coast Centre Manager Brenda Gracie said the new equipment would be a huge boost to the centre and its athletes, as the small club is looking to grow, so this will give more children exposure to quality athletics training. The correct size and weight of equipment for each age group is essential to running our program effectively. So these funds will ease the pressure on volunteers to fundraise, as well as enrich the experiences we can offer to our athletes, said Gracie. Joe Sichter, treasurer of Tully Little Athletics, said the grant would make a huge difference to the centre, which needed new equipment in order to continually provide a high quality and safe weekly experience for all its young athletes. We here in the Cassowary Coast community feel that it is important to be speaking directly with people about the concerns that we are facing in rural areas. The local community here has a strong mix of people from different backgrounds with different perspectives on a range of topics. We here at the CCIN want to give an opportunity for the different groups in our community to be able to tell their own stories. This week, we are delving deeper to hear directly from farmers on the new legislation being proposed based on reports that the Great Barrier Reef is being adversely affected by standard farming practices that produce fertiliser, pesticide and herbicide chemical runoff, also erosion sediment being deposited on the reef. Recently, Dr. Peter Ridd has been touring Queensland to express alternative information on what he reports are questionable claims that have been made during the creation of new legislation being proposed to farmers. The claims he has provided research to contradict are claims the reef is being smothered by mud sediment from farms, plumes of mud carried in river floods are killing the reef, fertiliser is causing crown of thorns starfish plagues that eat coral, crown of thorns starfish plagues are unnatural, pesticides from farms are killing the reef, pharmaceuticals from human waste is a risk to the reef, the water quality of reef's water is degraded, coral cover has declined, coral growth rates have slowed, coral does not recover from mass mortality events such as cyclones and bleaching, and the science supposedly showing damage to the reef has been properly checked, tested and replicated. Now, we're going to hear what a farmer's thoughts are regarding their claims and the new legislation, the Barrier Reef Protection Act, that has been proposed as a result of these claims.
Has it been recognised the work done to optimise water quality?
I don't believe so, Sari. We don't have any benchmarks or whatever. We're starting to get some results now from grab sampling. All I can go on is the habitat here.
Is the reef being smothered by mud sediment from farms?
I don't believe so, Sari. I've had a fairly long interest in different scientific studies and deposition of sediment over time, riverine export. I certainly don't believe so, no. The consensus seemed to be that the sediment and nutrient exported by the rivers is contained in the embayments by wind and tide.
Are you a member of BMP?
No, I'm not a member of BMP, sorry, but my records I record on an app called Farm Guardian, which my understanding is it should be recognised, the same as BMP, but probably the people who are in other recording type situations in BMP are not being, how would you say, for statistical purposes are not being counted, and I think that should be, that should be rectified.
What makes you believe that you have a healthy habitat?
Well, we electrofished here back in 2004. There were barramundi tagged and any number of other fish. I suppose I'd have to look at a piece of paper to remember, because one little fellow, he was tagged at 345 millimetres, recaptured 5 months later, was 508 mil, so he grew 163 millimetres in 5 months. It points to me that it was pretty healthy. But apart from that, the visual indicators like ribbonweed, freshwater mussel shells, those type things only grow, I'm told, in good quality water.
And there's those examples of that right behind you there?
Yeah, right behind us, yes.
All right. Have you electrofished recently?
No, not recently, just those 2 times back there where we mentioned 2004 and 5. But strangely enough, I made a decision to deepen the main drains and deepen the silt traps. mainly to stop invasion of hymeracne. And we're actually deepening the silt trap, and the second dip with a bucket we hit a barramundi, poor fella. He would have been a barramundi about 550 mil in length. So that was about 12 months ago. It brought home to me that these fellas are doing quite well. He was in very good nick, quite fat, and it really pleases you to see something like that.